All right, fifth graders, hello. We are entering a brand new topic for these next 2 weeks, okay? But it's actually a topic that you guys are pretty familiar with because you've been doing it for most of the year as well, previous years, okay? Now the topic's title is Order of Operations. Now it sounds really complicated, but I'm going to break it up into one word. Operations. What is an operation? Well, like I said, you guys have been doing it all year and even in previous years in school. The four main operations that we know and we've been practicing a lot this year is multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. That's what an operation is. It's what you do and perform in math. Okay? Now we're adding two operations that we haven't spent a ton of time on, okay, to the other four that we have spent a ton of time with. And that's parentheses and exponents. Now, the other part of this topic is order of. Okay, we already know what the operations are. It's the six that are titled right here. But the order of operations. So in the problems that we're going to be practicing and in the problems that we're going to be learning, you'll notice that you have multiple operations with multiple different numbers. Now, you can't just perform and complete those problems any way you want or from left to right. Okay? We have a particular order of operations starting with first, second, and going all the way to last. Okay? And we're going to learn about what that order is just to set us up for the rest of the week and next week. Okay? And it's going to make more sense when we do a couple practice problems at the end of this. Okay, guys? All right, so here we go. So, when we have multiple operations in multiple numbers in a particular problem, we have an order of doing them. Okay? So with that being said, the first order that we have, if you see these in your problems, no matter what, you have to do first is parentheses. Okay? So parentheses is the first order of operation that we have. So we always do parentheses first, whatever is inside the parentheses first. And these are parentheses right here. It's those banana looking things. Okay? All right. If we don't have any parentheses, but we happen to have exponents, you always do the exponents first. Now, we spent some time in this when we were learning about the base 10 model. That's an exponent. So I would multiply 8 by itself 2 times. So, once again, if we have parentheses, we do that first. If we don't, and we have exponents, we do that second. Now, if we have both, we still do parentheses first, and then exponents. Okay? Alright, third is multiplication and division. Alright? Now let's say we don't have parentheses, we don't have exponents. Then the next order of what we do would come to multiplication and division. So you do all multiplication and division first, but if you have multiplication and division in the same problem, we have to do it left to right. Okay? Alright. And then our last one is addition and subtraction. And it follows the same rules as multiplication and division. Okay? We always do our addition and subtraction last, but if we happen to have addition and subtraction in the same equation, we have to do it left to right. Okay? So here's the order of operations. We always do parentheses first, then we do exponents, then we do multiplication and division, and then we finish with addition and subtraction. Now, we're talking about it, I'm explaining it, and it seems to make sense, but I don't think it fully makes sense until you actually practice the problems, okay? So on this, I gave you guys an example problem, okay? So here's our equation, starting right up here. Okay? Hopefully my smartboard works. Oh, it doesn't seem like it. Okay, so I noticed 3 operations here. Actually, technically you could say 4. I see addition, I see multiplication, and I see subtraction. But the last one I see is what? Parentheses. Now, if we follow our order of operations, we know that we have to do parentheses first. So whatever inside the parentheses, that's what we do first. And what I notice is 11 minus 6 is in parentheses. 11 minus 6 is, bingo, 5. Okay? Now, the key part to this is only performing one step at a time, or one operation at a time. And in this case, we know that it was parentheses. So that's my first step. It's just solving that one at a time and then rewriting the equation. So, first step, we know that 11 minus 6 is in the parentheses. That equals 5. Okay? Then we rewrite the problem with the same operations. Now I see 12 plus 4 times 5. Now, once again, I still see two operations here. If I go back to my order of operations, what do I do first? Is it multiplication or is it addition? Well, I know step 3 is multiplication. So I do 4 times 5 first. Okay? Which I know is 20. And then I rewrite it with my new equation. I have 12 plus 20. Okay? And we only have one operation left, so I know that it's 12 plus 20, which is equal to 32. Okay, guys? All right, hopefully that was helpful. All right? We have an explanation down here, and you guys will get this in your packets, okay, to reference throughout any of our assignments that we have. Okay? Last thing I want to go over is throughout the lesson, you'll have to learn and use different buzzwords with our order of operations. Okay? Because sometimes they're going to give you a sentence, word form sentence, and you're going to have to create the equation. Okay? And there's some vocabulary words that we have to understand. We have to understand before we can get there. Now, like I said, we have 4 main operations: division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Okay? But we also have some parentheses and exponents. Okay? Now there are some buzzwords, like I said, that attach themselves to those operations. So, for parentheses, whenever we hear product, difference, quotient, or sum, we think of the result of all those different operations, which means that they are inside parentheses. Okay? So, product is the result of multiplication. Difference is the result of subtraction. Quotient is the result of division, and sum is the result of addition. So, if I ever hear those words in a word form sentence, I know that it's probably going to be in parentheses, because it's asking us to do that first. It's the result of those operations. Okay? Now, the other ones are pretty obvious, but I just want to highlight them. Okay? Multiplication, whenever we hear times, multiply, or half of something, we know that we need to multiply. Okay? All right, when I hear division, when I hear divided, divide, or half of, we can also, the half here we can divide by 2 as well, okay? But whenever I hear divided and divide, I'm thinking, I got to do division. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then the addition and subtraction are pretty self-explanatory too, but I just want to highlight them. Whenever I hear added, add, or plus, I think addition. Whenever I hear minus, minuses, take away, or subtract, I think of subtraction. Okay? Where we're going to get tripped up here is the parentheses. Remember, whenever we think the result of those operations, we think of parentheses, and these words tell us the results. Okay? All right, we're going to practice a couple problems, and then I'm going to send you on your way. All right? So let me get to my smartboard real quick here. And we're actually going to use these order of operations. All right, so just remember the order. Remember, first is parentheses, second is exponent, third is multiplication and division, and then last is addition and subtraction. Okay? So let me get to my smartboard here, and we're going to just write up a couple problems. Now I'm going to write 2 equations up here. And there's 2 very different answers, but you'll see the same numbers and the same operations. Okay? So over here, I see 2 times 4 plus 2. Now I'm going to write this pretty much the same one with the same operations, the same numbers, but we're going to be doing them very differently. Okay, we have 2 times 4 plus 2. Same numbers, same operations. I'm going to put this in parentheses. Okay? So let's do the one on the left first. Okay? So, I see 2 operations. I need to identify which 2 operations there are. Multiplication and addition. Okay? Then when I think back to my order of operations, what do I do first? Multiplication or addition? Well, I do multiplication first. Okay? So I notice it's 2 times 4, right? So that's what I perform first, and I know that I have 8. I only do one step at a time. So I rewrite my equation. So I perform 2 times 4, I get 8, and then I still have plus 2 at the end. And then I have one operation left, two numbers, so I get 8 plus 2 is 10. And you solved it. The answer to that equation is 10. Now look how it changes when I add parentheses over here. So once again, same numbers, same operations, but I have parentheses. Now I know according to my order of operations, I have to do parentheses first. So that's what I start with. Without the parentheses, I do it just like we did over here. But I add those parentheses. I know I have to do 4 plus 2 first. So I perform that first. I got 4 plus 2. I end up with 6. Then I rewrite my equation with the stuff that I haven't done yet. I still have 2 times up here. I end up with one operation, 2 numbers. I perform it, and I get 2 times 6 equals 12. So the moral of the story here, guys, is due to our order of operations, following our rules, when I add parentheses, it drastically changes the problem. Remember, first order of operations is anything in parentheses, second is exponents, third is multiplication and division, and then fourth is addition and subtraction. Now I'm going to add one more up here, no parentheses. I'm going to show you what I mean when I see multiplication and division in the same number sentence and completing it left to right. Okay? So what happens if I have this? 8 divided by 2 times 3. Now, remember our third step in the order, third step in order of operations is doing multiplication and division. But what do you notice? I have division and multiplication in here. So which one do I do first? Well, when we have those two operations together, you have to read it left to right. Perform it left to right, just like we read books, just like we read text, okay? So if I start left and I work my way right, I notice that division comes first. So 8 divided by 2 equals 4. I do one step at a time and rewrite my equation. And then I end up with 4 times 3, which is 12. Okay? Remember, same rules apply to addition and subtraction. Okay? If I have multiplication and division in the same equation, I have to do it left to right. If I have addition and subtraction in the same equation, I have to do it left to right. Okay? All right, guys, hopefully this was helpful. And this will start you off on lesson 30, order of operations.